Do-hyun stared at the viewing screen in horror. His three hearts nearly stopped beating at once. On the display, hundreds of humans were lying down on the sand, directly under their star's deadly rays. Some were even smiling. "This can't be right," he muttered, his blue skin turning a pale shade of gray from stress. "Hey-hyun, come look at this. Am I seeing things?" Hey-hyun, the team's human behavior specialist, floated across the observation deck of their cloaked research station. Her long antenna twitched with curiosity as she looked at the screen. "Those are definitely humans," she confirmed. "And they appear to be enjoying themselves." The two alien researchers watched in stunned silence as more humans arrived at the beach. Some spread out flat pieces of cloth on the sand. Others set up tall fabric structures that only blocked part of the radiation. It made no sense. "Get Taiwan up here now," Do-hyun ordered, pressing the communication button on his desk. "This requires immediate investigation." Taiwan arrived minutes later, his protective suit making soft whirring sounds as he moved. As the team's field observer, he had spent the most time studying humans from a distance. "What's the emergency?" he asked, then froze when he saw the screen. Oh no. "Exactly," Do-hyun said. "According to our instruments, the radiation levels at that location are far beyond safe limits. Yet these humans are deliberately exposing themselves to it. Some have been lying there for hours." Hey-hyun moved closer to the screen, adjusting her viewing filters. "Look at their young ones," she pointed out. "They're running around with almost no protection. Just thin layers of synthetic material. And the adults are watching them do this. Perhaps they don't know." Taiwan suggested. "Their technology level indicates they might not understand radiation dangers." Do-hyun shook his head. "No, they have devices that detect and measure radiation. They understand its effects. They even use it in their medical treatments." "Then this must be some kind of ritual," Hey-hyun suggested, her scientific training struggling to make sense of the scene. "A test of endurance." As they watched, a human child dropped something cold and sweet on the sand. The child cried for a moment. Then their parent bought them another one. The three researchers made notes about this apparent comfort behavior in the face of extreme conditions. "We need to call an emergency meeting," Do-hyun decided. "This goes against everything we know about carbon-based life forms. Either humans have some extraordinary protection we don't understand, or what?" Taiwan asked nervously. "Or they're far more advanced than we thought," Do-hyun finished. "Maybe even more advanced than us." Hey-hyun was already sending out the meeting alerts to the rest of the research team. "Should we notify the council?" she asked. "This could change their classification status." "Not yet," Do-hyun said firmly. "First, we need to understand what we're seeing. Set up continuous monitoring of all their beach locations. I want data on how many humans do this, how long they stay exposed, and what happens to them afterward." "What about closer observation?" Taiwan suggested, though his voice shook slightly at the idea. "Too risky for now," Do-hyun replied. "If they can survive direct star radiation, who knows what other capabilities they might have. We observe from orbit until we know more." As the team began setting up their expanded monitoring system, a new group of humans arrived at the beach below. These ones were carrying boards and walking straight into the water. "Are they going swimming in that radiation?" Hey-hyun asked in disbelief. Do-hyun just shook his head. The humans truly were full of surprises, and he had a feeling they were only beginning to understand just how surprising these creatures could be. The emergency meeting was scheduled for 1 hour later. As the researchers prepared their reports, they couldn't help but wonder, what other incredible abilities were these humans hiding? And what would it mean for the galaxy when everyone else found out? The research station's meeting room was packed. Every available screen showed images of humans on beaches around the planet. Research Director Jaewon stood at the front, her normally steady antenna twitching with excitement. "As you can all see," she began, Humans don't just survive the star's radiation. They seem to seek it out. Our data analyst Sang-min has prepared a report on their behavior patterns. Sang-min stepped forward, his data pad glowing softly. These gatherings happen more often when their part of the planet faces the star directly, he explained. They call this time summer. During summer, millions of humans travel great distances just to lie on these beaches. The room filled with surprised whispers. Do-hyun raised his hand. Have we figured out what the liquid is that they spread on their skin? Yes, Sang-min said, bringing up a new image. They call it sunscreen. It's a mixture of chemicals that blocks some of the radiation. But here's the strange part. They don't use enough to stop all the radiation. They let some of it reach their skin on purpose. Hae-yun added her own discovery. They even have different strengths of this sunscreen. Some humans use weak protection because they want their skin to change color. They call it getting a tan. The room went silent. Director Jae-won's color shifted to a deep purple of confusion. They want their skin to change color from radiation exposure. And this doesn't harm them. Not only does it not harm them, Ta-won said, they think it makes them look more attractive. Some humans get upset if they don't change color enough. Sang-min displayed more data. We've been watching several beaches for the past week. The humans stay out for hours. Some get red and painful. They call this a sunburn. But even then, they heal in just a few days. No lasting damage. Impossible, someone in the back of the room muttered. That's not all, Hae-yun continued. They've created entire industries around this behavior. They sell special chairs, umbrellas, and clothing just for lying in the radiation. They even rate their beaches based on how much direct starlight they get. Director Jae-won took control of the meeting again. We need to understand this better. Do-hyun, your team will set up permanent observation posts at the most popular beaches. I want to know everything. How long they stay out, what protection they use, how their bodies react. What about their young? Asked a worried-looking researcher. Surely they protect their children from this. Taiwan changed the display to show a beach full of playing children. Actually, they'd bring their young ones to the beach too. They just make them wear more sunscreen and sometimes little head coverings. Speaking of coverings, Sang-min added, we've noticed they remove most of their normal clothing for these activities. They wear special small pieces they call swimsuits that leave most of their skin exposed to the radiation. Do-hyun watched the screens thoughtfully. We've been studying Earth for years, he said. How did we miss this? What else might these humans be capable of? That's exactly what we need to find out, Director Jae-won declared. From now on, this is our top priority. If humans can adapt to direct star radiation, they might be far more resilient than we thought. This could change everything we know about their species. As the meeting ended and the researchers returned to their posts, Hae-yun stayed behind to watch the screens. A group of humans was playing a game, hitting a ball over a raised net in the full sunlight. They were laughing, jumping, showing no fear of the deadly rays beating down on them. Remarkable, she whispered to herself. Simply remarkable. The beach study had begun, and with it, the aliens' understanding of humanity was about to change forever. Hae-yun sat at her observation station, completely confused by what she was watching. 6 humans were jumping around in the hot sand, hitting a white ball over a net. They had been doing this for 2 hours straight, under the strongest radiation of the day. Do-hyun, she called out, come look at this. I think I'm watching some kind of endurance training. Do-hyun floated over to her station. His color changed to a lighter blue as he watched the screen. How are they moving so fast in that heat? Their internal temperatures must be dangerous by now. That's not all, Hae-yun said, switching to another beach view. Look at these humans. They're setting up protective shields, but they don't work properly at all. The screen showed a family putting up a beach umbrella. The mother sat under it reading a book, while her children ran in and out of its shadow, playing in both shade and in direct sunlight. It makes no sense, Du Hyun said. They understand the concept of radiation shields, but they only block part of their bodies, and they let their young ones run in and out of protection like it's some kind of game. Taiwan joined them, carrying his latest report. You think that's strange? Watch this. He pulled up footage from another beach. These humans are deliberately lying in the most dangerous spots with almost no protection. But first, they cover themselves in oil. The three researchers watched as humans applied tanning oil to their skin and lay back on their towels. Hae-yun's antenna drooped in disbelief. Are they trying to cook themselves? Actually, Taiwan said, checking his data, they say it helps them change color faster. They call it getting a golden tan. Some of them compete to see who can get the darkest. Hae-yun couldn't help but admire their toughness. We've been so wrong about humans, she said softly. We thought they were fragile because their civilization is young. But look at them, playing games in deadly radiation, teaching their young ones to swim in it, even turning it into a beauty practice. Do Hyun was about to respond when an alarm beeped at his station. Oh no, he said, his color paling. The council wants a progress report. What are we going to tell them? That the supposedly primitive humans are immune to star radiation. Not immune, Hae-yun corrected him. Adapted. They've evolved to live with it. They don't just survive their star's radiation. They've made it part of their culture. Taiwan looked worried. Should we warn them? Maybe they don't realize the danger. Just then, they watched a human parent spray their child with sunscreen, put a hat on them, and send them to play with a careful warning to come back in 20 minutes for more sunscreen. No, Hae-yun said firmly. They know exactly what they're doing. They've learned to measure safe exposure times. They've created protection that lets them enjoy their star without hiding from it. That's not primitive at all. It's brilliant. Do Hyun nodded slowly. You're right. But how do we explain this to the council? They still think humans need to be protected from themselves. Then we show them everything, Hae-yun said, starting to collect their data. The games, the swimming, the carefully calculated exposure times, the protective products they've developed. Humans aren't helpless. They've mastered living with radiation in ways we never imagined possible. As if to prove her point, the volleyball players on the screen finished their game, laughing and sharing cold drinks in the bright sunlight. They showed no signs of radiation sickness, no fear of their star's deadly rays. They were completely at home under a sky that would kill most other species in the galaxy. The three researchers watched in silent amazement. They had come to study a primitive species, but they were starting to wonder who was really more advanced after all. Yoon-ah stared at the white cream in her testing chamber. As the research station's top chemical analyst, she had studied many strange things, but this sunscreen was proving to be the most interesting yet. The results make no sense, she told Do Hyun and Hae-yun, who waited eagerly for her findings. Humans have created a chemical shield that blocks harmful radiation, but lets their bodies absorb just enough to stay healthy. It's like they've made a custom filter for their star. Do Hyun leaned closer to the testing chamber. Can we make something like it? I've tried, Yoon-ah said, showing them her failed experiments. But I can't get it right. The humans have mixed chemicals and minerals in a way I've never seen before, and they've made different strengths for different skin types. Hae-yun checked the data on her screen. And look at this, they put it in all sorts of products. Face creams, lip protection, even their hair products. They found ways to protect every part of their bodies. Just then, Taiwan rushed into the lab. You need to see this, he said excitedly. We just recorded humans testing sunscreen on a beach. They draw lines on their skin, leave some parts uncovered, and wait to see which parts change color. Yoon-ah's color changed to bright purple with surprise. They experiment on themselves to test radiation protection. Yes, Taiwan showed them the recording. Look, they even share their results online to help other humans choose the right protection level. Do-hyun watched the screen with growing respect. So they're not just using these chemicals blindly. They're doing scientific testing, sharing data, and improving their formulas. That's not all, Hae-yun added. They've learned that different humans need different levels of protection. Those with lighter skin use stronger sunscreen. Those with darker skin might use less. They've turned radiation protection into a personal science. Yuna ran another test on the sunscreen sample. The most amazing part is how they apply it. They know exactly how much to use, when to reapply it, and how long it will last. They even have special ratings for how well it works in water. Speaking of water, Do-hyun said, have you noticed they've made waterproof versions, so they can swim in their radiation-filled oceans without losing protection? The lab fell quiet as they thought about this. Their own species had taken thousands of years to develop basic radiation shields, yet humans had created portable, personal protection that they could apply with their hands. We need to rethink everything we believed about human science, Hae-yun said finally. They may not have space travel yet, but they've mastered living with their star in ways we never imagined. Yuna nodded, starting another series of tests, and they keep making their sunscreen better. New formulas, better protection, easier to apply. They're not just surviving their star's radiation, they're constantly improving how they live with it. As the team continued their research, more surprises awaited them. They found sunscreen made especially for babies, sport players, and even pets. The humans had thought of everything. You know what this means? Do-hyun asked, watching Yuna's latest test results appear. We're not just studying their sunbathing habits anymore. We're discovering an entire field of science we never knew existed. Hae-yun smiled, her antenna glowing with excitement. And something tells me this is just the beginning of what humans can teach us. The research station buzzed with excitement. After weeks of study, Do-hyun had made an amazing discovery. He stood before the gathered team, his skin glowing a bright blue with excitement as he prepared to share his findings. We've been looking at this all wrong, he began, displaying a microscope image of human skin cells. We thought humans were somehow fighting against their star's radiation. But that's not it at all. They evolved to work with it. Hae-yun moved closer to the screen. What do you mean? Look at this, Do-hyun said, zooming in on something called melanin in the skin cells. Humans have tiny particles in their skin that change color when they're in sunlight. These particles help protect them from radiation damage. When humans talk about getting a tan, they're actually making more of these protective particles. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Yuna was the first to speak up. So their bodies learned to create their own radiation shields, over thousands of years of evolution. Exactly, Do-hyun said. And that's not all. Their skin also gets thicker when exposed to sunlight. They make something called vitamin D from sunlight too. They actually need some radiation to stay healthy. Director Jae-won entered the room just as Do-hyun was explaining this. Her antenna perked up with interest. Are you saying humans are symbiotic with their star? In a way, yes, Do-hyun replied. They can't live without some radiation from their sun. But too much can hurt them. So they evolved ways to protect themselves, and then made it even better with science. Hae-yun pulled up her own research on the main screen. That explains so much. Look at human populations around their world. Humans who lived for generations in places with more sunlight developed darker skin, more melanin for better protection. Those who lived with less sunlight kept lighter skin to absorb more radiation when they could get it. Taiwan added his observations, and now they use sunscreen to fine-tune their exposure. If they need more sun, they use less protection. If they need less, they use more. They're controlling their relationship with their star. But the really clever part, Do-hyun continued, is how they've built their whole culture around this. Beach vacations, outdoor sports, even their fashion. It all shows how comfortable they are with their star. They don't just survive the radiation. They enjoy it. Director Jaiwan watched the presentation with growing amazement. This changes everything we thought we knew about humans. They're not just tough. They're perfectly adapted to their environment. And then they made it even better with their science. Should we contact them? Someone asked from the back of the room. Share what we've learned. The director shook her head. Not yet. First, we need to understand more. Humans have already surprised us so many times. What else might they be capable of? As the meeting continued, Hao Yun looked out the observation window at Earth below. Beaches around the planet were filled with humans enjoying their stars' warm rays. They looked so peaceful, so at home under radiation that would kill most other species in the galaxy. We came to study them, she said softly. But they're the ones teaching us. Maybe we're not as advanced as we thought. Do-hyun nodded in agreement. The humans below had no idea they were being watched, no idea that their simple day at the beach was changing how an advanced alien civilization saw them. And somehow, that made it even more impressive. Min Ki, the station's safety officer, could not believe what he was hearing. The research team wanted to send someone down to a human beach, to walk among the humans, in direct starlight. He had never heard anything so dangerous in his entire career. This is completely against safety protocols, he said, his skin turning a deep gray with worry. We can't risk exposing any of our people to that level of radiation. Do-hyun understood Min Ki's concern, but he pressed on with his proposal. We've learned so much from watching through cameras, but there are things we can only learn by being there. We need to understand how it feels, how the humans move so easily in those conditions. Hae-yun supported the idea. We've built a special protective suit, she explained, showing them the designs. It looks like what humans call a wetsuit, but it's made of our best radiation-blocking materials. We've even added a cooling system inside. The team gathered around the suit display. It was black like human diving gear, but inside it held their most advanced protection technology. They had worked for weeks to make it look natural on a beach. And how will you explain the face covering? Min Ki asked. Humans don't usually cover their faces at the beach. Taiwan stepped forward. We've thought of that. We'll say it's for a skin condition. Humans are very understanding about medical needs. They even have special tents on some beaches for people who need extra sun protection. Director Jaiwan listened to everyone's arguments. She knew this was a big risk, but the potential knowledge they could gain was huge. Who would go? She asked. This isn't like our usual observation missions. The volunteer would have to interact with humans directly. The room went quiet. Walking among humans was one thing, but talking to them, that was far more challenging than just watching from space. Then Taiwan raised his hand. I'll do it, he said quietly. I've studied their beach behavior the most. I know how to act like them. Do-hyun looked at his friend with concern. Are you sure? Even with our best protection, you'll still feel some of the radiation. And if anything goes wrong. That's why I should go, Taiwan insisted. I know what to expect. I've watched hundreds of hours of beach activities. I know how to put on sunscreen, how to set up an umbrella, even how to pretend to enjoy the water. Hae-yun began listing the things they could learn. Temperature readings from inside the suit, direct observation of human social interactions, sound recordings of beach conversations, and most importantly, understanding how humans move so confidently in their star's radiation. Min Ki still looked worried, but he started reviewing the safety features of the suit. We'll need multiple backup systems, he said. Emergency extraction plans, constant health monitoring, and a really good story about why you're covered head to toe at the beach. As they worked on the details, excitement grew among the team. They were about to do something no alien had ever done before. Walk among humans in broad daylight, on a beach, under the full power of Earth's sun. Remember, Director Jaiwan told them, this is observation only. No extended conversations with humans. No drawing attention. Just gather data and help us understand how they do it. Taiwan nodded, but inside he felt both scared and thrilled. Soon he would experience for himself what it was like to be a human at the beach. He just hoped their protection would be enough. Taiwan stood at the edge of the beach, his heart's beating so fast he could barely think straight. The protective suit felt hot already, even with its cooling system. Above him, Earth's sun blazed with terrifying brightness. "Remember your training," Heiyun's voice said softly through his hidden earpiece. "Just act natural. Humans do this every day." Taking a deep breath, Taiwan stepped onto the sand. He carried a beach umbrella and a towel, just like they had practiced. The suit covered him completely, with special dark glasses hiding his alien eyes. They had even created fake hands that looked human. "Temperature readings are steady," Du Hyun reported from the station. "Radiation shield holding." "How do you feel, Taiwan?" "Hot," Taiwan whispered. "Very hot. But I'm okay." He walked carefully, trying to copy how humans moved on the soft sand. It was harder than it looked. He found a spot not too close to other beachgoers and tried to set up his umbrella. The fake hands made it difficult, and the wind kept trying to blow the umbrella away. After his third failed attempt, a kind human woman came over to help. "First time at the beach?" she asked with a smile. Taiwan's hearts nearly stopped. They had practiced for this. "Yes," he said, using his best human voice. "I have a skin condition, very sensitive to sun." The woman nodded sympathetically. "My cousin has something similar. That's why she always wears a full coverage suit too. Let me help you with that umbrella." Together they got the umbrella planted firmly in the sand. Taiwan thanked her, trying to remember how humans showed gratitude. Should he smile? They couldn't see his face anyway. Just then, a beach ball hit his leg. 3 small humans, children, he remembered, came running up to get it. "Cool suit," one of them said. "Are you a diver? Or a superhero?" Another asked excitedly. "Or a ninja?" Before Taiwan could answer, he felt something wrong with his suit. The cooling system was making a strange noise. In his earpiece, he heard Minki's worried voice. "The suit's temperature controls are failing. The radiation exposure is higher than we expected. You need to leave now." But the children were still there, looking at him curiously. He couldn't just disappear. That would break all their observation protocols. "I need to go swimming now," he said awkwardly. But as he stood up, his fake human hand got caught in the umbrella and pulled loose, revealing his blue alien skin underneath. The children's eyes went wide. "Cool," they all shouted at once. "Your hand is blue." "It's just, body paint," Taiwan tried to explain, backing away. "For a beach party. Can we have blue hands too?" one child asked excitedly. In orbit, the research team watched in horror as their careful plan fell apart. Heiyun quickly activated their emergency extraction protocol, creating a sudden small wave that gave Taiwan an excuse to run into the water. As soon as he was deep enough, their cloak shuttle picked him up, leaving only confused children and one very puzzled woman with an abandoned beach umbrella. Back on the station, Taiwan collapsed into his chair, his color a pale blue from stress. "Well," he said weakly, "at least we learned something." "Yes," Du Hyun agreed, checking the suit's damaged systems. "We learned that studying humans is even harder than we thought." "And," Heiyun added with a laugh, "we learned that human children are dangerously observant." News of the beach incident spread quickly through the alien scientific community. Soon, Council Representative Su Jin arrived at the research station to assess the situation. Her formal black robes and glowing antennae showed her high rank, and everyone felt nervous about her visit. "Let me understand this correctly," Su Jin said, reading from her datapad. "You sent an observer to a human beach. The protective suit failed, and now several human children have seen one of our kind's true appearance." Director Jaiwon stepped forward. "The children thought it was body paint for a beach party. Humans often paint their bodies in bright colors for celebrations. We don't believe our secret is at risk." Su Jin's antenna twitched with concern. "That's not the main issue. Your research has revealed something far more important. These humans have evolved alongside their star in ways we never thought possible. This changes their status in the galactic community." The research team shared excited looks. He Yun spoke up first. "Their adaptation to radiation is remarkable. They've turned a deadly environmental challenge into a cultural advantage. They even have special clothing just for enjoying their star's energy. And their scientific understanding is impressive too," Du Hyun added. "Their sunscreen technology, their understanding of UV protection, their medical treatments using controlled radiation. They're far more advanced than we assumed." Taduan, still embarrassed about the beach incident, joined in. "They're also incredibly accepting of differences. When they thought I had a skin condition, they were kind and helpful. Even the children's reaction to my blue skin was positive. They thought it was cool." Su Jin listened carefully to everyone's reports. Her color shifted to a thoughtful purple as she considered the implications. "The Council has always classified Earth as a developing world needing protection, but your research suggests they might be ready for more." "More than ready," He Yun said enthusiastically. "Humans don't just survive in conditions that would kill most species. They've created an entire culture around it. They play sports in direct sunlight. They travel long distances just to lie on beaches. They understand radiation well enough to use it safely in medicine and technology." Director Jadawon pulled up their complete research findings on the main screen. "Look at their progress. In just a few thousand years, they went from hiding from their star to mastering life under it. Their adaptability is extraordinary. And they keep improving," Du Hyun pointed out. "Every year they develop better sun protection, better understanding of how radiation affects their bodies, better ways to enjoy their environment safely. They're not stuck. They're actively evolving, both biologically and technologically." Su Jin stood at the observation window, watching Earth rotate below them. Beaches around the planet were filled with humans enjoying their star's warmth, completely unaware that their simple activities had sparked such important discussions in space. "I will recommend to the Council that we upgrade Earth's classification," she announced finally. "Any species that can turn deadly radiation into a leisure activity deserves more respect in the galaxy. Perhaps it's time we started learning from them instead of just studying them." The research team could hardly believe their ears. Their project had started with simple curiosity about human sunbathing. Now it might change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. 1 month after Su Jin's visit, the research team gathered on their station's observation deck. The Council had made their decision about Earth's status, but Du Hyun had asked for permission to do one last thing before they announced it. "Are you sure about this?" Director Jae-won asked, looking at the small group. "Going down to Earth again seems risky after last time." Do Hyun nodded confidently. "We've improved our protective suits, and this time, we're going at sunset. The radiation levels will be much lower." Hae-yun checked their new equipment. The suits now looked exactly like human beach clothes, with special materials that could handle both radiation and water. They had even added artificial sweat marks to make them look more natural. "The Council approved this because they agree with our findings," Tadwan reminded them. "Humans aren't just surviving their star. They've mastered living with it. We should learn to do the same." They chose a quiet beach for their visit. The sun was low in the sky, painting everything in beautiful orange and red colors. A few human families were still there, packing up their things after a day in the sun. The research team set up their spot carefully. They had practiced everything: how to walk on sand, how to sit in beach chairs, even how to look relaxed while watching the sunset. This time, they weren't there to study humans. They were there to experience what humans enjoyed. "The temperature is perfect now," Hae-yun said softly through their private communication system. "The radiation levels are just high enough to feel warm, but not dangerous. Is this what humans feel all the time?" "No wonder they love their beaches," Do Hyun replied, watching the waves. It's not just about getting darker skin or playing in the water. It's about feeling connected to their star in a safe, peaceful way. A small human child ran past them, chasing a seagull and laughing. The child's parent called out a gentle warning not to go too far. The whole scene showed how comfortable humans were in their environment, even as the deadly star shone above them. When I first started this research, Ta once said, I thought humans were crazy to expose themselves to radiation for fun. Now I understand. They turned something dangerous into something beautiful. Director Jai-won watched a human family taking sunset photos. They'd done more than that. They've shown us that there are different ways to handle challenges. Instead of hiding from their star, they found ways to live with it. Maybe that's why they advance so quickly. They don't just survive problems, they transform them. The Council's decision would be announced soon. Earth would be recognized as home to a highly advanced species, not because of their technology or space travel, but because of their unique way of adapting to their environment. As the sun touched the horizon, the beach grew quiet. Humans stopped to watch the sunset, just like the alien research team. For a few peaceful minutes, two very different species shared the same simple joy, watching their star paint the sky in beautiful colors. We came to study them, Heian said, as the last light faded from the sky. But they ended up teaching us. Maybe that's the biggest discovery of all. The research team stayed until the stars came out. Tomorrow, everything would change. Earth would take its new place in the galactic community. But tonight, they just enjoyed the beach, finally understanding why humans loved it so much.